Good evening, people. Good evening. Good evening. This is Spirit Journey. Yes, it's dark in here in this room, and I just had inspiration to do a live video. Yes, today is Wednesday, August 21, 2024, and it is about 7 p.m. in the evening here in Rwanda. Boy, what an interesting day I had today. Um, was feeling a little ho hum past just a couple of days. And sometimes you need to like get away kind of bit, and then something you encounter and it kind of resets you. That's what I feel like right now. I feel more like myself right now. But earlier today I just said, I just gotta I went, yeah, I had to go into town. I had to get my little doggy. I had to get a prescription for him. And so I said, I might as well go and visit someone, this acquaintance that I have, and visit their store. I was just craving. They make coffee cake. Boy, I haven't had coffee cake. Now, I'm not sure. Now, to my understanding, coffee cake and crumb cake, they might be kind of like the same thing. I should know. I should know the answer to that. But I associate coffee cake with the little crumbs on top, and I really do like that. Yes, so we just had a visitor. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, your screen is not broken. It's dark in the room. My monitor is on in front of me. And yes, I was just watching a program, excuse me, and kind of motivated me to do this live stream. I hope you guys could hear me too. Oh, yeah, so I just want to try to, this video that I want to do, I'm going to talk about religion. And I'm not here to bash anybody's religion, but I want to just talk about certain aspects of this particular religious group. It's something um, I've seen them before, and it's like questions about them. And again, I'm not here to judge anybody, to deprecate anybody, but it's just like when my mind starts racing about certain things, it's more about trying to analyze what's going on when you feel like something is different, when you're trying to figure out something, you know? And I want to talk about a particular, well, I think I'm going to really talk about mostly one, well, maybe two or three groups. The first group I really want to talk about that's prompted me to do this live stream is Mormonism. And no, I'm not a Mormon. Never been a Mormon. Never been to a Mormon temple. Anything like that. I never. So it's all things that I might have seen on television, internet, and brief encounters with people who missionaries. And this video that I'm watching now, right across from me on my monitor, Mormons. Hey, I see we got a hello there. Namaste. Yeah. How you doing? Yeah, yeah. I don't have my glasses on. Yeah, yeah. I should get my glasses in case someone writes something else. Yeah, I used to have really good vision, but as you get older, when you're reading stuff, it's harder to see. So at least let me put my glasses on so I could at least respond to some of the comments that are being said. And yes, feel free to ask questions as I proceed with this discussion. And yes, it's an open discussion. I've been resting off of YouTube. Oh, okay. Hey, Tammy. Hello, Jim. Yes. Um, yeah, so again, I'm going to talk about Mormons or Mormonism. I want to talk about what's the name of that? What's that group? It's a group that's they're stationed in Chicago. Oh, with Louis Farrakhan. Oh, what's how could I? Oh, Nation of Islam. NOI. Yeah, I met a person who attended the NOI. Oh, I've been doing good, Tammy. Yeah. So yes, I met a person today that was in that, and what else? Who else did I want to talk about? Just how about networking? I think, but with the two groups, Mormonism and Nation of Islam, um, about different networks and how one network just seems to click, and then another one. Well, I know very even less about NOI, but I have met over the years people who were members of that organization, and I think what I wanted when I addressed that particular group, um, again, I don't have a lot of information, but what was shared on the internet, the leaders of that organization, they made mention about what the government did to them, and so that only based on that, what they said regarding their group, the questions that are racing in my mind about them, and in contrast with Mormonism, and that is the fundamentalist Mormons. Actually, they call them fundamentalists, LDS, but isn't Mormonism Mormon? I mean, true Mormonism that, versus what they call the mainstream Mormons. So actually, the mainstream Mormons is actually more apostate, but it's acceptable, more acceptable because they don't do the polygamy. But it's, it's really something how something could be first and then it gets rebranded and new respectability out of the new one, but you all come out from the same thing. Yeah, I see that Tammy is writing some things. When I play back this video, I don't see um, like on the screen, I don't see the live comments, and I don't know why that happens. So because of that, I like to read out loud what people are saying in the chat room, because I just know when I look on the monitor, when I do a when I look at it again later on, I never see the people's comments. So I'm going to read Tammy's. It says, Tammy says, "Oh, I know a lot about Mormonism. The Mormonism is a little bit too crazy. As a matter of fact, they are very crazy. I know someone who was once in Mormonism. She was born in Mormonism. The commands and, let's see, demands that they have are unusually and abnormally highly insane and crazy. They have about like 7 to 8 wives, and the things that they do to their daughters, their children, is just unspeakable. Spirit journey, I would like to know, where do you stand in spirituality? In spirituality. Oh, wow, very profound question. Where do I stand in spirituality? In spirituality, that polygamy is a bad thing. Wow. Okay. Okay, I guess that was a different thought. Okay, that's what Tammy Jackson is asking me. Okay, where do I stand in spirituality? Good question. I would say about, let's see. I would say 10 years ago, wait a minute, let's see, in 2013, the end of 2013, I stopped going to church. I was a so-called Christian, and I say it like that. I'm no longer a Christian, but in 2013, well, the last Sunday in 2013 was my last day in church, and but I was still a believer in the Bible and Jesus and all that. You know, uh, Protestant. I would say more in like a Protestant. I did go to Pentecostal type ones, charismatic, but conservative. The last church was conservative, um, but it has some roots in speaking in tongues, but it was pretty mild. And that was in New York City. I um, I left I left the institution the end of 2013, and it was my desire. Um, I wanted to find out more about myself, and I mean I was a member of the last church I went to. I was a member, an official member for 2 years, and I was in a ministry. And I just felt, even though I was staying busy, I didn't feel that I didn't, something was missing. I felt that something was missing. And um, I wanted to explore my roots, if I can call it that, my roots, my African roots. And I wanted to find out about spirituality in other faith systems, uh, in like, for example, West African traditions. And I just wanted to, I feel that like spirituality, I feel is beyond religion. So yes, I was raised in religion from like the age of, I would say, like I was introduced to Christianity. I was maybe around 20 years of age, but then I did active, what do you call it, participation in church after I left the military. Okay, so I would say at about the age of 27, I took an active participation in Christianity, meaning I would go to church, I pay my tithes and offering, I read the Bible all the time, every day. It was really the only book I ever read at that time to the religion. Um, but it didn't empower me. I didn't feel empowered because, again, um, at that time, it's all about God coming to rescue you. So you kind of sit back and you just kind of twiddle your thumbs and just wait for this person to come and save you from something. That's basically what it was for all those years. But but many years later, okay, so I was like from 27 to like, let's see, what year? 2013, I was about, I was 51, going on 51. I think I was going on 51. So um, yeah, I'll answer your questions too. I just want to get my thoughts out with what's on my mind with this, and I'll answer your questions in the chat room. Um, so I left, but I didn't leave the religion. I just stopped going to church, but I wanted to explore about other spiritual systems within the Black experience, if I can say that. Um, but then I had a paradigm shift, as I tell people, the end of 2014. It was just before my birthday in 2014 in December. Um, Someone shared me their book that they wrote, and it turned my world upside down spiritually. And f- as a result of, I guess I was already, I knew I was searching for something more than what I already knew in the Bible. And then when the person in 2014 shared a book that they wrote, and I read part of the book. I read 7 chapters, and I kind of like froze. I like in the movie The Matrix. Remember when Neo in the first Matrix, uh, they made mention that when someone reaches a certain age, it could be dangerous to try to awaken them because they may not be able to handle the truth. So I understand that feeling. I felt like, what's going on? Because the thing, the book that was written was, in essence, saying that everything that I believed was wrong and lies. And so, how's that going to make you feel? It makes you unstable. You feel like, oh my God. So, if your whole foundation is on a book, and then someone said that that book is not, you know. So I was kind of like in a daze in 2015, but I this particular YouTuber said, who wrote the book, this particular book said, if you want to open up your third eye, ask questions. And just the part of her just saying that to the audience, it really, I say, yeah, I loved it. I like that, how it resonated with me. And so I started, oh, I went to this museum. Um, in New York City, they have many museums, and I went to the Museum of Natural History. And I remembered, I had gone there before, but I remember they had an exhibition, an exhibit for, humanity, people. And they had skeletons and skulls of ancients. And these skeletons and bones about 40, what was that, 40,000 years old. Some are over 100,000 years old, 200,000 years old. And I knew that by going there, I know that was going to show me that it was older than 6,000. See, the belief I had assumed in the Bible, because what I read in the book of Genesis was that the planet is only 6,000 years old, I thought. No, it's not. And I knew that that exhibit would show that evidence. And so that was what I did to try to push me forward on my search for truth slash spirituality. So in answering your question, um, where does my spirituality in spirituality where it stands now. So in 2015, my spirituality was, I consider myself at that time a seeker. And I even wrote that on my tax forms when they said, asking what do for 11. And I said, I'm a seeker. Now I don't feel that I'm a seeker. Now it's like I'm trying to process. I'm kind of like, wow, this is a lot of information. So I'm at a standstill right now in my spirituality, but I'm searching in a sense that I do watch a lot of videos on people's experiences metaphysically. Um, Here I'm watching this show right in front of me in my living room about a particular Mormon sect in America. So it's like, okay, where's this pointing to? Um, I feel that um, something is just what is going on. Um, well, okay, I want to try to, okay, I might be a little bit all over the place in what I'm saying, but I gave it like a little foundation about me. And, today I had a very challenging day. Uh, and I met someone, and I have an acquaintance, and I went to visit them. And it turns out that her father was an NOI, that means Nation of Islam member. And I had questions about that, especially with regard to what I'm watching now, Mormonism. Now you say, well, Mormonism and NOI, they're two different religions. Yes, on the surface they're different. One is over, the FLDS, Fundamental Latter-day Saints, is one branch of is an offshoot of Christianity, and then NOI, Nation of Islam, is uh, a, m- a Muslims. I mean, it's a like a branch of Islam. It's not mainstream Islam, but they consider themselves Muslim, but it's a different sect within. Again, I'm not of that religion. I've never been a part of that religion, and I don't really know a lot about it. But I just want to discuss what a member of that organization shared about it, and I will tie it into the Mormonism. Okay, so I'm watching in front of me now. The name of the channel is Peter Santanello. Peter Santanello. And he does very interesting work. Peter Santanello. Um, he lives in America and he interviews people. He interviews communities of people. He goes to Appalachia. He goes to all over America, and I think his work is pretty good. Yeah, Peter Santanello. And I usually do not mention other YouTubers, but I respect his work. Wow, I'm just looking at a video that has been out for 8 months, so it's very popular. It's entitled "Escaping Polygamous Cult: Inside the Dangerous World of the FLDS." Okay, so I'm watching this video. And I'm just going by how I'm, I don't, again, I don't want to, I'm not here to offend anybody, but some of the things I might say might, might be, make someone feel a little uncomfortable, but it's more of trying to understand why I feel the way I do. I'm trying to understand. Um, I'm watching the video and the the channel person, the person who has the channel that's interviewing the guy. Now, the person he's interviewing, he looks like a clean cut guy, and he has his wife in the car with him. Very polished look, very polished. A young man. Um, he's about, oh, how old is he? 18. 20. He's in, I think, in his late 20s. He's just very mature minded. But I don't know, like I have like an like um it's kind of hard for me. I have like a like I don't understand. It's something that I don't understand about individuals who used to be members. Now, this person, he's no longer he's we call excommunicated. He left the church when he was 18 years old, and he's married, and I don't know whether he has children, but he made something of his life. But he's visiting this particular Mormon town in Utah and Arizona. Oh, thank you, Tammy. Tammy saying that she shared my stream. So, um, it's some, how to say this? How say I again? I don't want to be offensive. I'm not here. Your looks are your looks. They're very pretty people. These individuals. They look uh, very pleasant. But it's I don't know. But it's something about when someone tells me that they're Mormon or a former Mormon, like it's like a red flag that 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 I encounter. And again, this is a very peaceful video. There's nothing traumatic about it, but it's just something that I'm feeling as I'm watching it, and I don't understand why I feel the way I do. Um, good example. Um, Remember the show Donnie? What do you call it? Donnie and Marie Osmond show. I was a big fan of their show, but even back then, and they're Mormons. Okay, okay, thank you, Tammy. Um, it was always pushed that they're Mormons, and I think those were the first Mormons that I ever heard about. But it was always seemed to make it an issue because they're Mormon, and I noticed also they look different. They look different than other groups in America that I've seen. Now, again, you could look like you have a right to look like whatever what you want to look like. Okay, I want to make that clear. But I guess I'm trying to find out the or I mean so many. I mean, I'm from New York City and there are people from all over the world. But it's something about people of that particular group, especially if they're generationally Mormons, they have a different look about them. And I don't understand it. Um, I also, I used to live in Maui. Um, it's one of in part of the Hawaiian Islands. And I'm speaking here in Rwanda, which is in Africa. So for those people who are in Africa or in Rwanda watching this live stream, okay, this place, Hawaii is a part of the U.S. It's the 50th state, and what I learned about with Maui, um, I lived there for a short time, almost 3 years, from 1998 to 2001, mid 2001, um, and I was for yeah, I was meeting Mormons there in Maui, and well, the history of the Mormon Church. Again, I'm not an expert on Mormonism, and I don't want to try to pretend that I'm an expert. I'm just going by my experiences and what I was told um, about the organization, about the church group. Um, the history of Mormonism, when they were compiling their doctrines on paper, that blacks in particular were considered a cursed group, and blacks were not allowed to become Mormons, and that I learned about them many years ago. So I guess part of me have a bias about the organization because of the laws, the rules about black people according to their doctrines. Um, so I was surprised when I moved to Maui that the Mormons they do missionary work in Hawaii and are converting the Pacific Islanders. And the Pacific Island people are a dark-skinned race people. Okay, they're very dark skinned. You know, the true Pacific Islanders, they're very dark. And so I was confused why Mormons um, are proselytizing Pacific Islanders. And when I was still in United States, you know, in the mainland in New York City, I was on the train once, and a missionary Mormon, it was a young woman, and they work in twos also. They usually have two people in their missionary work. It could have been a male, female. I don't remember, but the female and dressed very neat. They wear like black and white. They had like a white shirt, and I think they had a black jacket. And I remember they had the name tag. And she had handed me a pamphlet, and the pamphlet, um, it was a very idealistic. The style of the drawing of this book is very similar to the what's that one? Jehovah Witness. Yes, Jehovah Witness. And interesting, Jehovah Witnesses are like the leaders are very Masonic. They have very, very strong Masonic ties, and the same as Mormons. That is a Masonic organization. Its roots are in Masonry. And so I think some of the parallelisms and of certain aspects of the Jehovah Witnesses, very cult. One might perceive it as kind of cult-like, very strong niche and everything, and a lot of rules. And if you don't follow certain rules, you know that you get excommunicated, and that they do a shunning. That it's a complete separation. Like if you get kicked out of the organization, if you're a Jehovah Witness, your family and your community can no longer get in contact with you. And that's also same as the Mormons too. If someone you can get kicked out of the Mormon church, and they have to defellowship you. So it's interesting how two Masonic groups, you know, I mean, organization that has its root in Masonry, kind of do the same type of thing. You know, it's just something that came across to me. So yeah, so in Hawaii, what I noticed with the I had a counselor, and he was a Fijian, Fijian. That's someone from Fiji. Fiji is in the North Pacific. It's a North Pacific island group. They look like black people, and some of them mixed with a little bit of something else. Um, but he was a black man, and he was interesting. And he shared that he was a Mormon. I was like, wow, a black Mormon. He was the first, well, I should say, Pacific Island, North Pacific Island Mormon. And he worked at this facility. And very am what I find fascinating with Mormons is that they're not lazy people. They work. They were, you know, and yes, in Hawaii, everybody got to get more than one job. When I was there, I was working, try to get two jobs. Another time, I tried to get three jobs to work because you need money to live there. The cost of living is outrageous. So, so yeah, he had his other job, and but they seem very orderly, you know. They they know how to present themselves. But again, no one's perfect. But I find what's interesting about Mormons, they seem very systematic in their approach to work. Um, yeah, highly organized, highly organized, um, very clean appearance. I discovered like there's this supermarket there. Uh, at least I was told that this particular very large supermarket chain in Hawaii. I don't want to say the name. I mean, you could just figure it out, but because I don't know whether they're still associated with this group. So, but they're it's a major supermarket chain in Maui, and I was told that it's owned by Mormons. I said, "Wow!" I'm just thinking, "Wow, what?" Yeah, and the store is immaculate. The store's immaculate. It's pricey. It is very pricey, but they have vegetables, they have fruits. Yeah, it's pricey, all right. But you get good service. And I've been there a couple of times. So I'm noticing like with like the 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 Mormons in Hawaii, um, they seem to prosper. They seem very prosperous. They're very industrious. And I look at other groups, I said, how come? And that's kind of what I wrote in, I think the title of this live stream, how come, how is it that they prosper? I mean, the questions that I have about certain things, and this is one of the questions. Again, I'm not trying to, again, my reason doing this video is not to uh insult, inflame, make fun of. It's just observation. And as it also ties into what I had today with someone who used to go to the Nation of Islam. Most of my viewers, they know how I am and that I kind of long-winded in how I try. I mention different things and then I try to bring the information into one central thing. So it might seem initially kind of all over the place, but what I'm trying to do is build up a foundation of the different elements and then try to bring it all together and to a focal point. Okay, so so that was my experience in Hawaii. Very industrious, and I don't understand. I find it curious, I should say, about their industry, and they seem to do well at what they do. And I admire people who who are highly organized. I admire that in individuals. So watching this video now I have in front of me in my living room, I'm watching a YouTube video. Again, as I mentioned, the name of the YouTuber is Peter Santinello, and he's interviewing this particular couple who is they were of the what do you call it, FLDS, uh, Fundamental Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. So he's taking a tour. The YouTuber who owns the channel, he's interviewing this Mormon and his wife, and they're being introduced to different people of the community that he was raised in as a child. Again, this man is now an adult. He left at the age of 18. I think he left maybe 10 years ago. He also was a member of that guy, Jeffrey something, the guy that was married to about 50 something women, and he was marrying underage girls. That one. He was a member of that particular group. They have subgroups. that like they have these splinter groups. And he's again invited this man, this YouTuber, to and introduce him to the different people there. And again, like they're in Utah, and I think they also drove through Arizona. They're all next to each other, and their homes are humongous. Um, I mean, I'm just like they showed inside some of these homes, and it looks like an office building inside. Like it's immaculate. Everything, clean, and the masonry work, the building, looks like it's done. And again, I'm not a construction worker or anything like that, but I'm looking at the craftsmanship of their work, and they seem very professional. All these buildings that they make, and the guy that's being interviewed, he does construction. Yeah, he looks like hefty guy, he had big hands and everything. And he said when he left at 18, he worked in construction. So what I find again interesting about this man, they educate themselves. They're educated. It's like they know that somehow that like they might they might have a family and they're dirt poor, and uh they have to like follow so many rules, and they might tell them, hey, we can't the church can't give you money, you have to learn how to help yourself. And all this wisdom comes out, and they devise a way, and then interesting. um that was like something that I saw many years ago. Someone was telling their story, and they came from a large family. They didn't have money, and the leaders of the church that they went to, Mormon church, said, "Hey, we can't. You have to help yourself. God helps those who help themselves, right?" Which is, I understand that. Um, but I am very impressed on the industry. And so this young man here that I'm watching now on this video, he left home at 18. I think about myself when I was 18. I didn't know. I live with my folks. I come from a relatively large family. I have six other siblings and my parents at growing up. But this type of industry, I did not have it. I was very, very timid and all that. I didn't have the same type of boldness that they have. I'm impressed by their boldness. I guess it's really you either sink or swim. And so I think, when I'm watching these videos, I'm watching it through my eyes, through my filters. I was from just a mainstream, just a regular community in New York City. Um, but I didn't have this type of industry whatsoever. I never thought that someone like myself could actually start something. And so I'm impressed. So I guess part of me is watching this to learn, hey, what if I wanted to become more industrious, or business? you know Try to find out what did they do. But I'm seeing what they have is that, okay, this man worked in construction. So if he does construction, he would be able to he would know how to build his own house. But again, he needs the resources or slash money to have it made. But still, knowledge is a good thing to have. So at least when money comes in, he can even do it for himself. That's what I'm saying. Um, so this community he's showing, the YouTuber, they're mansions, and some are even like they're mentioning that they're within this organization he belonged to. There's what's they're called elite FLDS. It's another subgroup of the fundamentalist Mormons, and he was mentioning that if you give 20%, you'll get extra favor. And that's what he was just mentioning. Like, okay, they give their tithes, it's usually 10%. And some of the people are not as thriving as well. I mean, they're doing okay, but some of them want to do better. And so that for whatever reason, excuse me, for whatever reason, they form a splinter group of a splinter group. They're the elite of the FLDS. And if you give 20% of your tithe of your money to the organization, they will assist you in becoming more prosperous. And again, most of these members are the uh, people who are in high positions within the organization. And I just find that, I mean, I'm just listen to this guy. I mean, you should watch it. Again, it's the name of the YouTuber is Peter Santinello, and it's entitled "Escaping Polygamous Cult Inside the Dangerous World of the FLDS," and it was uploaded 8 months ago, and it's almost 5 million views to it. So it's interesting to watch. Um, it's almost an hour and a half long. He's sharing the secrets of the FLDS, um, and that even though you have people like himself who left the organization in their youth, he was 18 when he left. Um, they have people in this particular town in Utah. What's happening in some of the uh, churches, um, in the Mormons, that they're not allowed to use birth control. That's not the only religion that birth control is frowned upon. Catholics also, at least Catholics of the past, they were forbidden to use birth control. And that's why I was one of 7 kids because of that reason, my family. So, yeah, they're not the only religion that they shun upon things like that. But either way, they're doing though, okay, they have multiple wives, and they're told not to use birth control. So of course, the women are going to get pregnant, and but what they're doing in their religion, again, the leaders, they have what seems like absolute authority because they're supposed to be representing God. And they take, in particular, the women, the young girls, and because they say the children are not yours, it belongs to God. That's what they say. And they base that on a particular scripture verse when this woman, she was barren, and then she asked, talked to a priest. The priest, I think, prayed for her something, and she becomes pregnant sometime later, and she wants to dedicate this child to the priest, to serve God. Excuse me. It was she dedicated the child to the we call it the temple. But the difference, though, in the Bible, the woman wasn't selling her kid, and the woman had access to her child. She would make clothes for the kid as he gets older, but the child is under the care of the people who work at the temple. But it's not, the kid is not being human trafficked. Okay, it's a big difference. The child in that scripture verse in the Old Testament, the child wasn't being human trafficked. The child was just living at the temple, and the mother could go visit the temple, But what's being done in the Mormon church, at least some um, um, individual churches within Mormonism, they're taking some of the girls and they take it away from the parents, but they don't tell the parents where the kids are. So they're being trafficked, the girls. And this one woman that's being interviewed said that she realized what could happen to her kid. I think they wanted to do that to one of her children. She saw what was happening in the organization. And here she's a grown woman. She looks like she could be in her 50s. And she said, I'm getting out of here. So they have these homes in Utah for for women, in particular, women and their children, young children, who are escaping the trafficking, the human trafficking of their children. And the mothers have no, they're not told where the children are. That it's complete trafficking and uh, obscuring any knowledge of the whereabouts, that they can never have contact again. See how they take religion or religious verse, the truth about, uh, they're exploiting passages in this scripture, and then they create something based on just a slither of that particular scripture. Yeah, these mothers and fathers, they're taken away from their parents, and they don't tell where the kids are, and they're being married off. But these Mormonism, they're heavily into masonry. Oh, how you doing? Hello, Daryl. Yeah, I'm talking about this video I'm watching on the FLDS, Fundamental Latter-day Saints. And this particular group is being, this couple, married couple, is being interviewed by this YouTuber called Peter Santanello. And very interesting. And so the YouTuber is interviewing this couple in Mormontown in Utah, and they're being escorted to different locations, and they're showing they have such an extensive network like you wouldn't believe. My mouth is just dropping while I'm watching, because it's highly institutionalized, highly organized. And again, like the safe house that they have, a safe house for women and children, because certain denominations within the Mormon church are human trafficking, in particular, the girls. The parents are told, these aren't your kids, these kids belong to God, and that they are God, these leaders, and they could just take them and do whatever with them. And then they'll never see their children again. And so the lady decided to run away with the kids. And so she's staying in this particular complex in Utah. It is a massive, massive building. Very, very, very plush, wall-to-wall carpeting. Um, it looks like an institution. It's immaculate. They have ceiling fans, windows all over the place. And I'm just wondering, I'm just scratching my head. Where do these people get the money to build these magnificent structures. That's what's baffling me. But part of the answer is this, people. Okay. Now this man is being interviewed. Oh, um, I saw a second interview, and the person said what's done, at least done in his church, Mormon church. Um, they have a lot of kids also, because the kids are the one that's doing the free labor. They get a lot of kids, and then businesses are formed, and so they don't have to hire people. They hire their children, and they force their children to do these tasks. Yeah, and so any money that's made, it's kept in house, so to speak, and they're given accounts, bank accounts. They mention in this second video that I saw today on the Mormon Church. And again, this person left the church. Um, so these monies are in these bank accounts. I'm wondering whether they're yeah. Oh, the children also, they don't get directly paid, but the money that is made from the businesses that they work in, it goes into some type of fund or whatever that the guy mentioned. And he wanted to escape. He wanted to leave. Yeah, in Mormonism, relationships, between men and women, male and female, everything's arranged. You have the leader of your group, and the word is like God, and they decide who is going to give multiple wives to a particular individual, while they have people who don't even have one wife. It's the men can have more than one wife. They want at least three. Their religion says if you have at least three wives, you'll get your celestial home or something. It's See, they believe that when you have multiple wives and a lot of children, you'll inherit a spiritual kingdom. Okay, hey, hi, Tommy. Yeah, you get your spiritual kingdom, meaning you'll get your own planet, and your kids will rule it with you. So that's why the motivation of having multiple wives and a lot of children, because it pretty much guarantees you into the afterlife, the spiritual world after you depart. You're promised this abundancy. So that's also what's motivating them. Um, what's the point now? Yeah, so there is human trafficking of these young children. And so this lady is sharing her experience when her fear that this was happening. So here she could be like in the late 40s, 50s, and she just left 1 year ago this religion. She said that she liked the religion, but when she feared that they were going to take her children away from her and never to have contact with them, she said, I'm getting out of here. That's what happened. But they have these nice, safe houses for them. It was like that guy, what's his name? Jeffrey something. He was that Mormon leader a couple of years ago, who was getting married to underage girls. He had multiple wives. I think he said 50 something wives. And he had a young girls, underage girls. And so he got arrested, and he has 2 life sentences. Okay. But what they shared in this video is that he's allowed phone calls. He can call up his members and instruct them what to do. So isn't that something? So here, he has control over his people even when he's in jail for 2 life sentences for the things that he did. Yep. So it's really something. You can pull away the criminal, but you allow them access to the phone to tell his followers what to do. Doesn't make sense to me, but that's what they're saying, what he's doing. Um, and again, they have the safe houses for the women and children primarily. Yeah, people want to escape. And I start to ask myself, why is this group, what the, it's like, it's like an army. It's like an army. They operate like an army or a hive mind. Um, they set up communities. Some of them are mayors in of their own community. They are the mayors. They control everything within that town. And I am dumbfounded at that type of power that they have. Um, the homes that the people live in do not belong to the people that live in it, but it belongs to the church. They give their tithes to the institution. Many of them are builders, and they just keep on building and building more properties all over the place. These people, they don't look hungry. They look well dressed, well groomed. They sound very, highly educated. Um, I'm just, I'm baffled by them. I'm baffled at this video. They look like normal people. They look even maybe so. You start to wonder, okay, so what are you getting at with all this? Okay, so I mentioned that um, whether they're young, teenagers like 18 years old, leaving home. I know I didn't have much skill at 18 years of age. I mean, I had a little job, worked in a little office, but I couldn't support myself. But somehow their industry, oh, I did forget to, I almost mentioned it, but I forgot to also include um, the children who have to work for free. Um, and But the money, like if the children work for their parents, um, the money that is made in that business goes into different accounts. And I think at the time when they want to, let's say, get married, part of the money goes to them, but they have to request it. And the individual, when and he went by himself to get the money, and they said no. So he brought his older sister, and the older sister demanded the money. Guess how much money they gave him? They gave him $12,000. Wow. So there is a network. They have banks, um, multiple accounts. And again, so I guess that money they use to start their own businesses. And it seems like many of them the guys know how to do construction work. And yeah, he looks it. He's big guy, has some big hands and everything. He look like he know how to work. Um, so I look at everything. Again, it's highly, highly structured. Um, I don't know how anybody could juggle having 12 kids. You know, I'm wondering about the mental health of these women. Yeah, and they mentioned that the different, like the multiple wives, they're called sister wives, and they help each other out. So let's say one woman has an appointment, the other mom, the wife of the guy, will watch the kids for her, and I think they live in the same house or something. Or sometimes they can live within the same, they work in the kitchen together, whatever. It's still, it's I don't know how they can cope with all that, but I'm amazed that they're so highly structured. They're highly structured in Hawaii. A lot like you go to a hotel in Hawaii. This blew my mind. Uh, I went to this one. Again, not going to give the name of the hotel, but it was very, very nice. It was my job had sent the whole company to Oahu for overnight for a little party, and the hotel we stayed in, the bed it was really, really comfortable, very, very clean. And oh, like next to the bed, the night table. Well, like in the U.S. mainland, like in New York City, they okay in those hotels, the night table it has a Bible. You go to in Hawaii, when you open up their night table drawer, you get a Bible, you get the Book of Mormon, and you get the Quran. I kid you not. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that they, I mean, they want to make sure they're making sure that they're catering to different tastes. And so I guess I mentioned that because um, some individuals who want to start a business, they don't think about, hey, what could I do to cater to uh, my customers? What do my customers like? And how could I serve that need? So I respect that again with the Mormon institution and their business charge. I'm very impressed with it. So let me see anything. Oh, that's what it is. Really non-permanent. Okay. Okay, I'm just getting distracted. I was just reading one of the messages. Okay, so um, so again, so what's the whole point of mentioning about different aspects with some the FLDS, the Fundamental Latter Day Saints? Okay, so as I mentioned, what that I went out earlier today, and I was talking to this acquaintance. I visited someone's. The person has a company. It's been around, um, they closed the business in the US and then they moved to Rwanda, where I live, about 3 years ago. And so you know, excuse me, I don't want to give the name of the business, but um, the, how do I word this? Oh, I remember with her. Okay. Now, this individual, it turns out that what she shared that her mother was raised as a regular Christian, but her father was an NOI, Nation of Islam member, and I I I look at them like I question certain aspects of the organization. Again, I'm not here to slam dunk anyone, but again, it's just trying to understand when you compare, I guess apple and a banana. Okay, the organ, the it seems like the type of organization within the NOI doesn't seem as uh, managed. Okay, maybe that's the word. It doesn't seem to be as managed as much. Again, I've never been a member of that organization either. I'm an outsider, but I'm just going by the people who were members, what they say, and on the internet, some of the leaders shared what has happened within the organization, and that's all that I'm talking about. Um, I was in one video on the NOI, Nation of Islam. Uh, they they they've been around. Oh, I don't. Does anyone know how long the NOI have has been around? Was it like 80 years or over 80 years? I forget. But they've been around for a while. And they're a branch of Islam. Um, it's a black organization. They're not mainstream Islamics. Um, but the question was asked about their resources and everything. And here, they're about empowering its members, members of the Black community. And I'm confused. I'm confused about certain aspects. Now, here you got the Mormons. Now, the Mormons are an older organization, and they started around the 1850s. So it's much older, but this for NOI, it came much later. But when the what the one of the um what do you call it? One of the higher ups uh mentioned that they said the government confiscated our land, and they might have also said money. And so I'm confused. I'm confused as a Black woman. I'm confused that in this organization um, that that tries to encourage about empowerment, and people are putting its faith in them. And it's been around for at least 80 years, this organization. So I ask myself, after 80 years, what do you have? What have you provided for your members? Because now I'm comparing, okay, the two groups. You have the fundamental Latter day Saints. They own many properties. If someone leaves the fold, if the lady doesn't want her kid trafficked, human trafficked, they have safe warehouses for them to stay in, and these are immaculate places. They showed, I mean, everything is in order. They seem highly intelligent also, highly, like, even if they don't go to mainstream schools, many of them are homeschooled, but they know how to read and write. They seem to be good with their hands, good in math, and so then I'm looking at the people with the NOI, and it's like, wait a minute. Okay, the NOI also is in masonry. They are also part of masonry. But I'm wondering, how come it doesn't seem to be working as effectively, this branch of Islam? How come that the people seem more a perception? Okay, my perception could be wrong, but it's just what you see. They just they don't seem to be thriving. They don't they don't seem to be prospering as, in relationship to the FLDS members. Even if they fall away from their organization, they still seem to prosper. The guy got a big ass car, the money that this vehicle that he's riding in. They look very clean, very well, very, so-called good neighbor looking like people. But I've seen some of the people with the, because I used to watch their show, the NOI, the Nation of Islam. They come on actually on Sunday. I used to watch them some years back, maybe 7 years ago. I used to watch them back in America. And so I was alarmed when they announced in a program, NOI program, and one of the leaders, not Farrakhan, not him, but one of the spokespeople there, like one of the teachers, and mentioning, and I felt he was making excuses. Um, I don't understand how come where did the power go? Where did the power go? If it's all about Black empowerment and about the white man, and you're isolated from everybody, from mainstream Christian. I mean, uh, they they're they stay within their group. Um, I'm sorry, I just had to pick something up. I don't. Where is the money going? Did, did the government really take? I mean, did they take every piece of property? I mean, what about the money they're making now? You don't think people in that in their place of worship, that people are giving their tithes and offering? So what are they doing with the money that they're getting now as an organization? Because they say, okay, the government at a particular time took our land away, or took so get another one. How is that how, okay, people, what's really going on? What is really going on in some of these religious organizations? And yeah, I'm putting it out there. See, if it's religion, and again, all the groups I mentioned, the FLDS, NOI, I think I mentioned one more, but at least those two, they're all part of Masonry. They're all involved in it. Seems like the FLDS is like a notch above in their network. They have an extensive network, and I was also fascinated, like this town that they're showing in Utah and in Arizona too. They got these flags, these American flags, all over the place. So they make it seem very like they're pro-American, but um, uh, polygamy is illegal. It's illegal, but see how certain individuals kind of cloak. They want you to make you think that these are, you know, people who love their country. Well, they might love their country, but it is illegal what they're doing if polygamy is illegal. But yet they have their American flags all over the place. But I just thought that was surprising because I never saw that before. Okay, now in contrast now, um, I never saw an NOI have an American flag. I haven't seen that. Um, I'm wondering, um, now when you look at the people in the congregation of NOI, um, do you perceive a sense of prosperity in them? Do you? Just take a look. Just and you come to your own conclusion. When you look at their audience, when they broadcast on Sunday morning, and you look at them, do they look like they're thriving? Do they look happy? Now they have a nice mosque, okay. Um, but are they thriving as an institution? Where is the money that these people, where is it going? I ask this. See, there was something else that I heard about, uh, another group, a Christian group. Um, a woman was sharing her testimony. She was like an accountant for a particular church, a Christian church, and she was asked to investigate where the money was going. So she knows like computers, these days, a lot of things are done by computer. And she mentioned something to the wording like the back door of the computer, something like that, the back door. Um, and it turned out that the money that the people were giving, there was a secret account. She was able to discover through the back, what they call the back door of this computer system. Um, and the money was being funneled. The money was being funneled to, I'm not going to give the name of the country, but it's in the Middle East. It's in the Middle East. And I'm wondering why certain denominations, in particular, Black congregations in particular, I'm thinking, don't you notice in the Black community? Yes, I'm a member of the Black community when I was in America. Now I'm in Africa. But yeah, I used to be a churchgoer. And a tither. Oh, yes, I was. That was part of my religion, paying my tithes and offering because a man shall not rob God. Remember that? So either way, I knew I didn't want them to at least have that against me. So I made sure I paid my tithes and offering. And that's what do you call it? Um, Gross amount, not net, my gross amount. I paid my tithes and offering religiously, okay, for many, many years, or all my Christian life. I am no longer a member of that, of the Christianity, but I do respect some of the principles that the New Testament teaches. But outside of that, I do not follow the religion. But either way, um, this person was giving her story that when she investigated where the money was going and found out that the money was being funneled into this place that's located what they call to uh, let the authorities know, who would need to know. They try to kill her. Okay, they tried to eliminate her. Let me just say that way, eliminate her. Okay, and somehow her story got out. It's a recent story that I heard. Recent, very, very recent. It was this year. And this is 2024, uh, August 2024. I'm doing this live stream. So, what does this all mean? So, like, see, I'm trying to connect the dots, people. So a lot of my work, I mentioned all these different things, and it's like, spirit journey. Why you mention all these things? Because see, they're like dots, and I'm trying to connect the dots, people. I'm trying to connect the dots. The things that are happening now, and you gotta pay attention to the things that's going around. It can make you really confused. But if you can just analyze what's going on and try to connect the dots. So, like this lady found out the money was being siphoned. I noticed again when I was a churchgoer and a tither. Um, did you know people, uh, especially Black Americans? Um, don't you notice like why are there so many churches in your community? I'm from New York City, and you go to a typical Black neighborhood or West Indian neighborhood, you're going to have churches up the kazoo, and they're always in extremely impoverished neighborhoods. The poorer the neighborhood, the more churches. So almost like certain denominations in New York seem synonymous to poverty. Pentecostals, poverty people. Um, Baptists, they could be have a little bit more, but Pentecostals, things like that. Charismatic, you're going to find Poorville. And they usually have more sessions. You have to go to their churches several days a week. You got the Sunday, they might have two sessions on Sunday, and then they have something on Wednesdays, and then they got the Friday one. Okay, and then you go. on and on and on. So you're there all the time. And each time is to suck out your resources, your money. And you start to wonder, hey, how come the neighborhood is so impoverished? You know, people, especially Black Americans, you better start noticing other groups and find out what they're doing, such as the FLDS. They are highly structured. And yes, they are Masons in their religion. They're the highly Masonic, but they have a network people. And even though that, like, the kids that work for them, well, like they have a lot of kids, the Mormons, and the children have to work for their parents or their parents' friend, and they do not pay the children to work, but they have a money fund, and the money that is made goes to various bank accounts. But there's a time, like if the kid wants to get married or whatever, um, or leaving, they can ask for the money that's in their account. Okay, um, so even though it's not a perfect system, the FLDS, but they have a highly structured, and they're highly educated in of their community, whatever what knowledge they need to live in their community, they have it, and they're able to thrive. They have work skills, and they work within their community. But I notice the years I've been in the Christian church from officially, like active, uh, when I was from 27 to about 50, my early 50s. So that's basically my whole life. Um, but I noticed with these churches, Black churches in particular, that I was a member of, um, they didn't thrive. The people just seemed to remain stupid. They didn't seem to have any real guidance. They just go in, sing, pray, praise the Lord. Uh, they have to pass the plate several times. But I look, they don't have anything. It's like they leave the church. I mean, like the church service end, they go home, but they don't benefit. When they leave, they don't benefit. It's like separate. But with the FLDS, everything's connected. The homes that they live in, the mansions, right? People, the size of these homes, and they were showing them on this video that inspired me to do this live stream. It's the YouTuber. His name is Peter Santanello, and it's entitled "Escaping Polygamous Cult Inside the Dangerous World of the FLDS." Very good program. Very good YouTuber. He interviews all types of American people, demographics, and different states. He's very good. I think this one is one of his better ones. And my watching it, I feel very, for whatever reason, as I mentioned in the very beginning of this live stream, I feel very uncomfortable watching these people. Um, they look perfect. He left their church and the Mormon religion when he was 18, and it's like 10 years later. But it's something that's kind of mystical about members of from these groups. Um, it's just something about them. And I just don't fully understand why I feel the way I do. And again, I'm not, my motive again in this is not to slam dunk, not to put slurs or make fun of, but sharing things that I notice, such as when I was living in Maui, and Maui surprisingly has a lot of Mormons, and you have Mormons of color. And again, their religion, the Mormon church, when they first formed, said that Black people, the Black race, is the cursed race. And that's why when they formed the religion, that Blacks were not allowed in their religion. But now they're changing it, and you even have this Black woman, her last name, a Haitian lady, and she married a Mormon, and she was the first, I think, mayor or something like that of a particular city in Utah. My mouth dropped. I forgot about her. This was maybe, it could have been maybe 10 years ago I saw the video. I forget her full name, but I just remembered her last name is Love, Love. She's of Haitian ancestry, and she married this white, Mormon guy. She got a lot of a lot of kids, and she works in government. And she was being interviewed, and again, everything is very pristine, very orderly. Um, it's really amazing. So again, um, so now Blacks and Pacific Islanders, people of color, are being recruited now by Mormons, and they seem to be flourishing. They do well. And then again, I made mention about the Nation of Islam, the NOI, and they had shared on their channel, on their website. They said that the government had taken some of their property and something else. But I'm thinking, wait a minute. Okay, they're not going to be taking something. If that's true, they're not taking something every week from you. Maybe something in the past, many years ago, maybe that might have been true. But what are you doing now with the people's money? People are giving money, I'm sure, right now when they have church, religious services there. They have to pass the plate or whatever. Okay, where does that money go? How come you're not thriving? I mean, and you hear about the different business, like like this thing what the ladies do. They 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 make the, what do you call, the bean pies. They also about these bean pies that they make. Okay, now are you able to market it? I mean, find out what these other people are doing. It's like crumbs. I don't understand it. After I think the organization's been around for 80 years, 80 plus years. Does anyone know how long, or could you check for me how long that organization has been around in America? I think it's about 80 years or more. Okay. So after 80 years, and Farrakhan, he's I think he's 90 years old now. Okay. He's not going to live forever. What is their plan? Okay, okay. The last time I haven't seen this show in quite a while, but it looks like they're grooming, the one of the sons of the first minister. Okay, and they seem to be grooming him to become the leader, the next leader, if when Farrakhan transitions. Um, my saying this is not. I'm not trying to be insulting, but I as a black woman from America and had lived under religion, and seeing that religion, in my experience, to me, it just kept Black Americans in bondage. It made you just sit on your rump and twiddle your thumbs and say, okay, when is Jesus coming? When is Jesus coming? Um, and I didn't prosper. The church was not prospering. Yes, you do have individuals in the Christian religion who are prospering, okay, who make some money. But the network that Mormons have is at a notch so much higher. And I asked myself with the NOI that, okay, I'm thinking the NOI could have got bought land in a vacant area somewhere in America, because there is land in America. Like they make, I remember I was told that the country is heavily populated. Yes, America has a lot of people, but they all, the majority from the East Coast to the West Coast, most of the land in America is vacant. Most of the land is vacant. You just fly that plane and you look out the window and you see there's a lot of land. So, if it was all about protecting the Black community from white people, okay, so how come they didn't buy up large sums of land? I mean, you have over 80 years to buy. I know of foreigners who just came to America and they bought a plot of land and a house, and they hardly could speak English. So, how is that they are able to buy a property as an individual? And then you have an organization who got established because of the racism that was targeted against them. Okay. And so I would think that after 80 plus years, and if you're that fed up with the system, you will at least try to form a community. But it's like they just sit there in Chicago. The main headquarters is in Chicago, and we all hear about what's happened in Chicago, right? It is crimeville, crime ridden, and yet this organization is very well known, but you don't hear anything being done to protect the members of the Black community. You don't hear it. You just hear Black on Black crime, right? That's all you hear. But I'm wondering, well, how effective is this organization if it's, pretty much in their territory? You know, I don't understand it. I don't understand after 80 plus years, uh, where's your land? Where are your businesses, institutions? Here, the FLDS, they have, what do they have now? They have schools. I think they have their own post office. Um, it's a it's a they have their own community. They own it all of it, all of it. And that's what blew my mind. They know how to do things. Why can't um, the NOI teach its men how to build buildings, masonry, all that stuff, and build the properties? They built the whole damn town in the Mormon community. All those houses. The guy that's being interviewed said it's owned by the church. All their homes are owned by the church. I mean, the Mormon church. It's not really theirs. And they build and they expand. And they live in several states, not just Utah. So they're flourishing, even in the bad things that some of them are doing in trafficking their children and sell. Pretty much they're just giving. They're taking the girls and they're taking away from their parents, and I'm pretty sure that it looks like they're selling the children to someone, and they do these weird rituals too. Okay, but either way, um, I'm trying to understand if you have. I mean, besides the corruption that happens within the FLDS or any religion, but they at least are able to sustain themselves. And I don't understand with what it looks like with the NOI, Nation of Islam. as a black group that they don't sound like they're flourishing, and it always it always seems like a complaint that Whitey is doing this and that to them. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, if you're investing your time and money in an organization and they keep making excuses, you better start asking yourself, stay in that organization. If it's not working for you or your community, I'm just saying that it might be a good idea to reevaluate the time and the money of who or whom or what you are investing in. Doesn't that make sense? If the organization has been around for over 80 years and you have nothing to show for it, nothing. You have all these immigrants coming into your community, um, destroying everything, and you don't hear a damn thing from this organization of the properties that are being taken, the everything getting mashed up. But you know that they're paying their money. You know that they have to pay their tithe to that institution, right? So people paying money. Where is the money going? I'm wondering. I'm wondering with many of the faith-based religions out there, where is the money going? A lot of religious institutions, regardless of the type of religion, I have a feeling, based on some of the things that people have told me, that I'm thinking that the money is being funneled into something else, and that it could be going into this particular country that's located in the Middle East. And I'm saying that because there was a recent report that I heard this year, 2024. A woman worked for this particular church in the U.S., and she was asked to investigate, hey, where's the money going? And she looked within this computer, and as they said, the back door of the computer, she discovered that money was being transferred to another country, and that they tried to kill her when she tried to release that information. Um, I also need to share this as well. Why I'm thinking something like this might be, the churches in the Black community and many poor communities around the world that being set up as a part of a money laundering to finance wickedness. Okay, let me specify. I know that was a big statement there. When I was still in the Christian church, it was in early 2000s. Um, a person that I knew at the time invited me to her Pentecostal like church, but this one was a little different. It was a storefront church, poor black neighborhood, but it it attracted black people who were interested in bettering their mind. And the pastor and the pastor's wife had a different edge about, educating the people there. And he had shared with the congregation, again, this is just a handful of people, maybe 20 people in that church, storefront church in Queens. Um, he said that he somehow the these people of Eastern European ancestry had somehow they found out about it. Yeah, yeah. The black community, and I'm sure other communities, are being observed by these outside people. And I know I know it's not an outside, just a random occurrence. That is happening a lot, because I know someone else this happened to. Again, I don't mean to, I hope I'm not offending. I'm just sharing my experiences and putting the dots together that I think all these things are part of a larger system out there. Okay. I'm not trying to be biased or prejudiced and insulting for the sake of doing, no. I'm just mentioning uh, incidences that and wondering what they all mean when you put them all together. That's it. You can have any religion that you want. That is your business. Your spirituality is your business. But either way, uh, early 2000, I was invited to this church, and it was different. It was interested in improving the mind of some of of the people there. So you had some black intellectuals. These were very young people, that people just starting out, families, like in the upper 20s, 30s. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I was in my late 30s. So these people were like maybe in their early 30s, late 20s, and the pastor said that he was approached by this particular man. He's outside of the black community. And he said, I like your work and I'd like to open up a church for you. Okay. Now, isn't that nice? Someone wants to start a church for you. Isn't that nice? But now, this man is not of your religion. Why would a stranger? You already got your church. You started it on your own. And then you come in and then you say, hey, I want to start a big church for you. Well, I'm glad the man had enough common sense and he said no. He talked it over first with his wife, told his wife what happened. You have strangers out there and they want access to your community. They want access, uh, especially in the black community, these strangers, and they weasel in and they try to flatter you. But see, they do that because they want access and they want to control you. Some pastors would have said yes because they're into size and think, wow, I can show off that I got a bigger building. But see, you don't own it. They own it. They will own you too. And I'm glad this man had enough common sense. Yeah, the man was in his 60s. He was about, I think, 65 years old at that time. Yeah. Um, and so maybe he was old enough to say, hey, I already started this on my own, me and my wife. And why do I need a bigger building? I'm 65, he was probably saying. I'm going to retire soon, whatever, right? So I'm glad he said no. And then people, okay, that was early 2000. And then it could have been 2006. I went to a different church. Yeah, I went to see, it's a pattern, people. I'm sharing this because I want you to know. Yeah, I went to a different church. This was another black church, and it was in East Harlem. And he was very charismatic. He was a real funny guy. He also was in his 60s. And where he, unfortunately, didn't say no. He was brought in as a youngster. He was a child of the Civil Rights Act, you know, and yeah, he's from New York City also. And someone got in contact with him. I think he was like on the edge or something like that socially. And so they said, we'll give you a free college education. And they sent him to Puerto Rico to become a pastor. It was confusing because, well, he's not from that island. He doesn't speak the language there, but he went to school there, and he did learn the language. Then after he's finished, they brought him back to New York, and he started a church, a small church. It was cute, a wooden church, and he shared to the congregation. I was a guest. I just attended a couple of times. And he also mentioned in the 1970s that the government was giving away a lot of money in the black community as like a hush up money to pacify. Because the race riots and all that in the 1960s after King got killed, assassinated, uh, they didn't want any more riots. And so they were funneling a lot of money. This is what the pastor's telling us. Again, he was of that age and he benefited by that. He said the government was giving away money to Black Americans, and they had given money to him. And he said he accepted it too. Okay, that's what he said. Um, but so he comes back from school, in Puerto Rico, and he becomes a pastor of this church. But it wasn't his. It wasn't his. It turned out because I witnessed something. Okay. I was sitting up in the front pew, and he was a very charismatic pastor. Really interesting. He was very, very funny. And one day, okay, this is an extremely poor Black and Hispanic neighborhood. Okay. But this congregation was to cater to Blacks. There were no Hispanics at that church. So it's really funny that they educated him in Puerto Rico so that he learned Spanish. Then they put him in a location where there are a lot of Hispanics, but yet he's not reaching out to that demographics. I'm just saying what was different about it. I mean, you have this gift and then you're not going to use it for them. But that's what happened. But either way, well, one particular visit when I was there, you had two outsiders. They also looked like there were people from another race, and they look like from the same ethnicity as the other pastor visitor that I talked about. And they sat in front, right next to me. One was an older man. He could have been in his 60s, 50s, 60s, and the other one was like in his 30s. And he stayed quiet. They stayed quiet, but they just sat down. And then the black pastor started yelling, and but yelling indirectly. And you speculate it's about those two individuals who are not members of the community there. They're of a different race, national, everything's different. Um, they had the passer by the balls. See, um, what they were doing was to remind him that it wasn't his church and that it looks as though they were there to collect or to remind him why he was there. Again, he's a 60-plus-year-old guy. Okay, and why now? But yeah, they came by and they didn't say not one word to him, but just the presence of he knew who those men were. And it was the first time I ever heard a pastor yell, like in anger, like that, and directing it to those men because they were there. And it's like, wow, what is going on here? But I realize, see what happened. It's a wake up call. You have people who are targeted in the Black community, and I'm sure many communities, and they're puppets, and they are being told what to say, what to do, um, and they're there, these outsiders, because that's how they get access to your community by setting up these churches, collect the money, and then tell them what to preach. That is what I witnessed. I witnessed this. Where's the money going? Where is it going? It seems like I'm just getting a feeling that some churches are, what you call it, money laundering. They're getting money from somewhere to start up these churches in certain neighborhoods, poor ones in particular, poor Black ones. Then you can control the people. You could go and visit and remind them why they're there. Get the secrets, what's happening. Who's the up and coming Black person? Are there any up and coming Black leaders? Where they want to know who it is. They try to flatter you. Oh, you're so good. Oh, we'll help you start a bigger church. And if you're young and naive enough, you might just say yes. And that's what happened with that guy. He became indebted to them when they paid for his college in Puerto Rico, brought him back, started a church, and then it seemed like there was something to be collected or reminding him, and he flipped out. It was a very bizarre, very bizarre experience for me, but a good experience because it's showing me that religion is not what you think it is. It is an institution to control you, to find out what you have, to siphon the money that you do get, and then take that money and do who knows what with it. They are using you, and you're left empty, especially if you're a member of the Black American community in America. The more churches in these Black neighborhoods or West Indian neighborhoods, the more poverty. And the money, in my opinion, based on this one account that I heard about, that some of the money that is made by some churches are being transferred over to other countries, or this one particular country in the Middle East. Why would it be sent over there? Why are you allowing these churches to be in your community, yet it's not helping you? If you have a church, have an institution, something that like you don't just take your religion at home, you don't just leave your religion in the church. You bring it home with you. It's a part of you. It is an institution, but they're not doing that. So when you leave a Black church in America, you leave with nothing. You leave with nothing. And there's no empowerment. And I'm saying that, I guess what I'm saying indirectly is whether you're a Black Christian group in America or an NOI organization in America, and You're putting in all this money for generations, and when you leave with the problems that you're trying to escape. That's why you go in these organizations. But in comparison with the Mormons church, they owned everything. The members, the organization owns all the homes. The people are encouraged industry. They build their own homes. They have job skills, these guys. Um, they become mayors of their own town. So they create an environment for them to thrive in. They are thriving. They're not perfect. They're not perfect, but at least they have something that they can point at. And when those members want to leave the organization, the Mormon church, they have a safe house for them to reestablish themselves, to get a new start. And I think that's a positive thing. Yeah, it is a very, very positive thing. And again, something has to be done. These um, organizations are taking advantage of you. If it serves you, then you serve it. There's no problem. But like I'm looking, and I remember where I came from, and they're perishing. And these churches are not saying, hey, you have, like in New York City, it's being overrun by illegals and they're being weaponized. And I don't know how a Christian group can just sit on their behind and let go down the tube. Their flock is in danger. That's why I left. I left there because it was becoming too dangerous. Or the NOI. Chicago, they got a lot of illegal immigration over there. And how are the people being, yeah, they're having a convention there, the Democrat uh, organization, political party. The convention is there. And it's like, what's going to happen to the people there? They're suffering and they're getting angry. And these institutions, I think at times I feel that some religious institutions are behind some of the events that you see happening around you, and they're doing nothing to protect the people. They're siphoning their money, and yet they're not showing, accountability. All this money, where's it going? You can at least invest it in your members so they have a place to live. Uh, Start a community, a real community. The Mormons know how to do it. I don't agree with some of the things they do, but as a method of empowerment, the whole thing about the Black community in America was about uh, empowerment. But if you have no community of your own that's thriving, where's it going? And you're allowing these illegals to push you out. You got to wake up. You got to wake up, church, mosque, temple, whatever you want to call it. You got to wake up. There's no accountability. And your money is being used against you. Just reconsider. Uh, if something is serving you, continue to serve it. But if it's not serving you, reevaluate your time, your energy, and your money. Where's it going? That's all I have to say. Yeah, I just had to get it off my chest. Um, yeah, I'm seeing a lot, and the woman that I met who has a business, and it's like what makes some businesses thrive and some not, and I think that's also why I mentioned that. Um, some people just they know how to start a business, even in New York City. I mean, during the COVID, a lot of businesses fell. Businesses that were around when I was just starting out as a teenager in New York City, um, gone for good, but being replaced by other companies. And again, when you start a company, does it's no guarantee that it's gonna fly. You know, most businesses fail. So, um, the new leaseholder of these buildings, it went up. That's why some of the companies also uh, fell away even before the COVID. They were falling away maybe a couple of years just before the COVID. And I was told by one company that was going out of business, they said the rent went up too high and they can't afford it. That's why they're shutting down. But in the next breath, you have someone who could afford it. And so I think it's all part of social engineering. They want to get rid of the old school. They're running out, in my opinion, Black Americans and mainstream white people, so to speak, and they're putting in a new demographics. And when I also saw that, that was another reason why I felt I had to leave. I felt that the old America that I knew growing up as a teenager and adult was being taken away. And what it was being replaced with, it was being replaced with, in my opinion, people who um, were not in for my interests. Uh, I felt I was being pushed out. And it's a horrible feeling, a very horrible feeling. I mean, some of the businesses look very nice, but I just felt like, hey, I don't want to feel like my whole infrastructure of what I grew up in, and overnight to be taken over by people that don't look like me, that are not interested in me or um, or America. I feel that they don't care about America and they're taking it over, and I couldn't take it. I couldn't take. Yeah, I appreciate any of your feedback. What I'm saying again, what I share is not. I'm not trying to hurt someone's feeling. I'm just sharing my experiences and my confusion about what I experience or see, and the implications, what it could mean for people. That is all. Your religion is your business. It's about what feels right to you. If it feels right to you, continue doing what you're doing. But if something is ringing a bell about some of the things that I'm becoming more aware of, or you even have successful groups, but behind the scene, all these weird things are going on. It might look good on paper, like with the FLDS, but the other thing, the trafficking of children, that one is a new one for me. I didn't know about that until just this program. Yeah, yeah. This trafficking of children, that the YouTuber Peter Santinello is interviewing a Mormon. He used to he left the organization, the FLDS, Fundamental Latter Day Saints, He's married. He left when he was 18. He's now, I think, his late 20s. And he's sharing his experience, what happened. And to my surprise, well, I shouldn't say surprise, but really, what he was showing, these massive homes and the extensive networking that they have. And even when they fall away from the organization, former Mormons meet up with other former Mormons, but they still have a network. They still seem to have a network, and they have skills. And I'm wondering why institutions like the NOI or the typical Black American church, why aren't they thriving? They're making money, but the money is not being used for their edification, education, etc. So I think it's a wake up. It's time to wake up. It is time to wake up. You're wasting your money. You're better off. You're better off getting a bunch of friends that are on the same page, same mindset of people who want to improve their lives. Put your resources together and form something together. Form your own community. Find a piece of land that you can live in that's inexpensive and start from there and become the mayor of your town. Um, have your own banks, your own schools, your own, own grocery store, all that, and educate your population. Yeah, they push that. That's one thing. The Mormons push that, and I have to admire them for that aspect of them. Again, I don't agree with everything, but is what they're doing, and but at least they have something to show. Have at least something to show for your community, whatever what that community is, and if it's a faith system that serves you and your family, then you serve it. If it no longer serves you, then you may need to reconsider your efforts and where your money is going into. Okay? So I thank you again. If you have any questions or statements, please write it below in the comment section. And take care. Thank you again. Until next time, soon, I hope. Bye bye.